What's up, everybody? Serial Entrepreneur here, and today we're going to look at a little bit of information you guys have been asking me about, which was the actual proposal that I went over and took into the client that I sold for $5,500. The $5,500, well, roughly $5,500 a month. So you guys asked for it, and here it is. This is also something, just so you know, I actually just released the Digital Marketing School. If you guys are interested, it's digitalmarketingschool.teachable.com. This is going to be the exact kind of information we're going to go over in the course. It's not just going to be teaching you digital marketing. It'll teach you how to set up the business, what to do when you go in for a sale, or to pitch a proposal to somebody. I'm going to teach you how I build these things, what tools I use, stuff like that. So first and foremost, I've said this in one of my other videos, but if you haven't used Google Drive or any of the Google apps before, I highly recommend them. They're free. You don't have to buy Microsoft PowerPoint and Word and all of that stuff to get all this stuff done, especially if you're like running off of a Mac computer. They don't come with the Word or the Microsoft, the word I'm looking for? The Microsoft softwares. So you actually have to pay extra for those, and even Windows computers, it doesn't come stock with it. You have to pay for something. Why pay a monthly fee when you can get it all for free here? So first and foremost, use as much free stuff as you can, especially if it's quality. And Google's apps are quality. It makes it so easy. Like all of these images, you can see. Like I pulled these from offline. All you have to do, like when you're creating a presentation, if you want to insert an image, you just click image, and you can search online. So I can search Google's images and just pull up. So if I need like a truck, I could probably get even more specific. So if I wanted to do like a Ford truck, or if I'm trying to go to a dealership and get a Ford truck, I can put a Ford on here. I can do something like, there's so much I could probably type Ford F-150. Yep. See, I can get whatever I want. That's the best part about this software. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Microsoft Word does it too. I don't use Microsoft Word too much anymore, so I can't remember. But I mean, it's just a great tool, you guys. And it's free. Use it. So the presentation, what I go over when I get in there. Obviously, when I get in there, the first thing you want to know is you got to go over what you went over before you left the first time. So if this is your second meeting and you didn't close them, or you usually don't, like I said, close them on the first meeting. So if this is the second meeting and you're getting into doing the proposal, you want to go over everything you went over in the first meeting. So simple things like, so when we talked last, and you want to put this, you want to make sure that they understand that they're the ones, this is a sales technique. You want to make sure they understand that they are the ones who told you that this is what they wanted. Okay, so you're basically reminding them of what they said. So it adds value, it adds authority to what you're saying because you didn't say this, they said this, and you're retelling them what they said. So go in, talk about everything that you said that they were looking for, whether it be their goals, how much marketing they're trying to do online, what they're currently doing, if they're doing TV advertising, stuff like that. You want to go into all that information over again and just kind of, but do it briefly. Don't take up 20 minutes going into everything they want. Do it in 2 to 3 minutes. Just do a brief overview of everything you guys talked about. After that, just jump into the presentation. Say, okay, now that if that's all good, do you have any questions before we start? That's always a great question to ask. Give them an opportunity to speak and to ask if they have things on their mind. And then as soon as you get done with that, go into the proposal. So obviously, rest of our marketing, blah, blah, blah. And what I recommend, one more thing, is also take a copy or a couple copies in. If you're going to a business, especially a higher value business, so they're making millions to hundreds or tens of millions of dollars a year, they're going to have multiple people in on that meeting. So probably a marketing director, the business owner, maybe a business developer, the financial guy. These guys are all going to be in the meeting. So you want to have a couple of these available in case you can put it on a projector. That's how I like to do it. If the company has a projector, we throw it up on the projector and shoot it up so that way everybody can see it. But you still want to have some paper copies. They're always going to want a paper copy. Don't forget to take that. So when you get into it, just go really quickly over the company, who you are, where you are, what your experience is, what makes you different. So if you guys are new, you won't have this little cool thing right here that I get to say, that I've been doing this for 7 years. So what you might want to talk about is how you took a course, or you got certified in something, or you started, or you got a testimonial or something like that from a business that you have worked with and maybe provided free services for to start, so that way you could get your track record going. You have to prove to these businesses that you're still worth it somehow. So give them something here. And you can see actually right here at the bottom, I say one of few certified digital marketing companies in the US. It's all semantics, okay? So just make sure you highlight your company, make your company look good, okay? Um, targeted and results-based marketing. So basically, I tell them what I'm all about. We've already done the review of everything they told me, so we go straight into it. And this guy's most business owners that you talk to, especially if that's the decision maker, they're very straight to the point. They don't want a ton of detail, but make sure if it is that person who likes detail, you have to pay attention in the first meeting. If they're asking a crap ton of questions, that means they want a lot of detail. If they just want the main points, that means they don't need a ton of detail. They just want to know point A to point B, how are you going to make money? So keep that also in mind. All of these are great sales techniques for you to keep in mind when you're selling a potential client a marketing package. You want to be able to read them and understand what type of person they are, because if you're going into 20 minutes of an explanation on something they just wanted to hear the ultimate goal for, then they tuned you out 19 minutes ago. So just make sure you're not wasting time. Go into the information they want to hear. So this slide basically just goes into my marketing, what I provide from an overview, from a broad, high level type of look. You see everything here, and that's basically it. Then I give them some things that people commonly or common misconceptions about digital marketing. What people tend to think about digital marketing and that they might be wrong about. Too expensive for them to be able to afford. While yes, it is expensive to spend $1,000 a month, is it worth it for you to spend that $1,000 and make $5,000? That's what you have to. It's not really that expensive if you know that you're gonna get results from it. It doesn't work. I still hear people say, "Oh, it doesn't work," and that's where you basically come in and say, "Okay, well, who were you using?" And especially if they say something like, "Oh, well, we tried something with Yelp and it just didn't work out," and then you say, "Well, that's exactly the reason why." I'd say about 85% of customers who use Yelp end up leaving them within the first year of their contract. And I know this because I've worked with several customers. Me personally, I've worked with several customers who have dropped Yelp. So you want to listen to things like that, and find out what if they say, if you mention this point and say it doesn't work, and then they agree with you, oh yeah, it doesn't work. Then you want what reason do you have to believe that? Don't necessarily ask it like that, but what is it about it that that makes you believe that it doesn't work? And then you ask deeper questions to kind of try and feel why they have that misconception. Only works for large corporations. Your customers don't look at your pages, or your online presence doesn't affect what customers think about you. These are just some common misconceptions that people have about digital marketing, and I kind of give I don't touch on this too much. This is all just very quick information that I give them. If they have questions, I answer them, but other than that, I don't spend a lot of time on this. So then after that, I kind of give them the plan. What do you expect, or what should you expect getting started? Basically, you provide us with all this information, provide us with all of this information, and that's it. You pretty much sit back and relax. From there, I take care of everything. That's what my agency is meant to do. We're supposed to be able to handle everything from an online perspective, not just social media, not just email marketing, but everything. PPC, SEO, everything. And then what do we do at Rest and Bar? We develop the strategy and plan. We select verticals. So my verticals and a vertical, if you're not familiar, that's a term for a sales channel, basically. So a vertical for us, it would be social media marketing. A vertical would be SEO marketing, email marketing, web development. Those are all verticals where you make money. So I would choose the verticals, basically, that would be most beneficial for that business. So if they don't need Pinterest marketing, then that's not a vertical that I'm going to select. Part of the strategy and plan. Create content for the campaign launch, and then we launch the campaign. So this is all the process. I'm actually in the process right now for that company I landed. This is the process I'm in, is in the developing and creating stage of the marketing campaign. Because I tell them this straight up. The first 2 weeks, you don't get any advertising from me. This is me creating your advertising campaign and getting all of the content ready and all the pieces in line, so that way we can have an effective launch. And a launch is just, it's not, something necessarily huge, but it's where you go into everything that that company's going to be promoting. So, and getting it all basically starting to disseminate content, because that's really all online marketing is. It's dissemination of content to turn potential customers into sales. So that's what you're looking at there. Whoops. And then the last thing, track and adjust for efficiency. That's it. So using analytics and reporting to determine if your efforts are effective or if you need to make adjustments. Now this, he wanted us to specifically focus on franchise development. That's part of what his ad budget is allocated to. And so I gave him some information, just how how selecting a franchise works from a customer perspective. So if I am a potential, if I'm looking to purchase a franchise, what is the typical process that I'm going to go through before I convert and purchase a franchise? And this is just an infographic I pulled by Franchise Update online. You can find infographics like this all over the place for digital marketing because it's such a popular thing. So if you have, especially for car buying, I'm not sure if there's one for restaurants. There might be one for restaurants. I haven't really looked for the restaurant workflow, but that's just because I kind of know how that goes and I build that out myself usually. For the franchise, I didn't know exactly what the most, or I wasn't 100% sure what the most streamlined way to portray that message. So I did a little research myself to find out what the best way to promote a franchise opportunity would be. That's definitely something new for me. I've never promoted a franchise opportunity. So I'm not selling, what his actual services are. I'm trying to promote to franchise people who are interested in starting a franchise, which is a very small market. So it's interesting to work with, that's for sure. Next, after we go into a little information of what the flow looks like for a customer, then we tell them, okay, so that, this is what the customer should do and most likely will do in the process for a search for a franchise. So here's how we're going to make those convert into sales. So I give it in steps. That's what people like to see. You can do it in parts, steps, month to month, show what you plan to do that way, but you need to show something that is a step-by-step plan to get them results. So step one is PPC and SEO. This is the information search stage. Website and landing pages. This is the information capture stage. So information search is when they're looking for information or trying to determine what is the best option or service or product for them. Info capture is where we actually get their email address, their first name, last name, whatever information we can collect about that person. If it's for an attorney, you're going to try and collect a little bit more, like what kind of maybe attorney they're looking for, or if it's a doctor, you might be looking for what type of service specifically they're trying to find. Those kinds of things will be in the info capture stage. Step three is the email marketing. And really step 3 and step 4 kind of could be the same step, but I like to separate them. It just makes it easier for the business owner to see. So once you capture it, you start emailing them, and that's just sending them content. So promotional content, educational content, competitor comparisons where you're showing why you're better than the competitor in an email. All of this is that stage. And then step 4 is just going to be Facebook marketing or the digital marketing phase. And that's just for this campaign. So one thing I should have mentioned, I guess, from the beginning, every campaign should be customized. That's why I don't necessarily believe in pricing packages for digital marketing. I believe in setting up a standardized price for each vertical that you have. And then maybe even some of the subcategories of services that you provide within each vertical. But I don't recommend setting up necessarily a specific set package. You can for guidance and to kind of, if you're trying to send out information to a business owner who's just requesting to see some pricing information, you can send out something like that. But I strongly recommend that every campaign you do, you need to price it according to what services you're going to provide, because everything is customized. If you do it the right way, it should be customized. It's not a 1, 2, 3 system. It is in a sense because you're following the same steps every time, but you're using different platforms, different technology, or not technologies, but different types of services to promote their business. So you need to be aware of that. So for this campaign, I chose Facebook marketing for retargeting ads and LinkedIn. So I can do retargeting ads on, once these people have hit my website, they come from PPC, we've gathered leads here, and we pushed them to the landing page. They went to our website and checked us out. So maybe you can see up here, one of the big things they do is social media search. So they want to see right here, they want to see if you're actually active on social media, if you're having good reviews from customers, stuff like that. So they'll look at you eventually, and then that's when you can hit them with retargeting ads on Facebook. So they're sitting on their Facebook going through the phone, and you're sending them an ad that pops up and says, "Hey, we saw that you signed up for our franchise opportunity." And then maybe you provide them with some more free content in that advertisement. That's all you're trying to do there. Or convert them into a sale, depending upon the type of business that you're working with. For this franchise opportunity, that's where I'm really sending them really touch base type things, because the conversion rate on a franchise is going to be a lot slower than, say, selling an article of clothing or maybe a burger restaurant or something like that. All right, so getting into the actual plan, I give them some general information, and this is just typically, it makes you look good. Okay, it makes you look like you know what you're talking about, which that's part of the game, is just selling them on making sure they believe that you know what you're talking about, especially for a lot of you young people. Not that I'm old, but for younger people, it makes it harder for them to sell just because they look younger. And I think you guys would agree if you are younger. So just keep this in mind. The more you make yourself look like a pro and understand that and make them understand that you know what you're doing, it makes the sale go a lot easier and a lot more fluidly. So I do some information about what PPC and SEO looks like, what the differences are, because PPC is here, SEO is here. What is this? Why does this relate to all of this stuff? So, that's stuff that's important. And so I give them a little bit of information. Don't overwhelm them with too much information. Most of this will go straight over their head. Imagine how much, if you're new to digital marketing, can you think back to when you first got into it and you were like, what the hell is all of this stuff? You just felt overwhelmed. Well, that's what you do to the business owner when you try to tell them too much. So keep it very basic, okay? So again, go into the first part, your competitors, what they're doing, where they're spending. So he had a direct competitor. Midas was one of his direct competitors, doing exactly what he's doing and also selling franchises. So give them some information about that, show them what they're doing, proving that it is an effective way to get sales or leads. I show them a little bit more. So this was actually showing them that it's not impossible for them, because franchises, a big promoter is third-party sites who offer franchise opportunities, and that's all they do. So they show up a lot in SEO results, but these were showing that, cleaning companies are there. So it's not impossible for him to get up in SEO if we do a lot of, quality work in building content. We go into a little bit of his SEO, so currently where he sits, show him why this needs to happen. 21% optimization rate, and this was the average out of 5 locations that he had. So, this is super crucial in showing a business owner, where we need to make some changes. Same thing here, he wasn't showing up in SEO results at all. His site rank, you can't see it, actually. You can see it now. So his site rank compared to his bigger competitor sitting right here, they have close to like 22,000 or about 22,000 links that they've created. And he has 96. So you can see where the big difference is as far as SEO and content. That many articles out there, it's going to provide you with a good bit of SEO ranking. So once we show him the good and the bad of what his competitors and what he's doing, you go into the actual plan. So what we plan to do for PPC, what our targets were, what our focus was, same thing with SEO, what our plans were for getting him to build on SEO, some of the platforms we're going to use, some of the extra stuff that I do for him. This is actually a service I provide extra. It's more of a PR service where I will basically reach out to smaller news articles and media outlets and send them blog content that we create, and usually they'll take it for free because they're always looking for good content to promote, and that's all they do is content. So giving them free content is a great way to build a partnership, not while at the same time building great SEO and getting them some public exposure at the same time. This posts to a public newspaper, builds SEO, and gives them a partnership with a media outlet. It gives them so much value. Like, they see this kind of stuff and they're like, wow, I can't believe that. And you're like, yeah, I do that completely free. Like, that's just an added bonus, and I guarantee you won't get this with any other agency, um, especially the bigger agencies. And that's something I mention to them. I make sure that they know, when you go to another agency, they're not going to reach out to you and do this, or reach out to local media outlets and give them blog articles by your company for free. That's it. Just won't happen. And then social media marketing for SEO. So that's just the plan of what we plan to do there. Step two is the website and landing page. So we show them what we plan to do for the landing page, what our goal is, what the procedures are, so that way we can make sure we're capturing all the leads we need to capture, and getting them to the end goal, which is basically to sign up for something or to purchase something. And then for right here, we do I have kind of some ideas that we want to do as far as content, and then you notice I don't go into super long detail about what the how-tos are. I write how-tos and then I give them some off the top of my head. They don't need to see a ton of wording here because they're not going to read it. I promise you, they're going to be looking at you and trying to figure out if you really know what you're talking about. So just write this in, and then when you're looking over it, have some in mind that you already plan on talking about. So this is where you do your preparation for the meeting. The next one is this third step. I just go into everything same as the first two steps. Give them some information about what I plan to do for them for email marketing. I show them step one, step two, step three, just some infographic type material to keep them, aware of what we're trying to do. And even better, I probably should have put like a 1, a 2, and a 3 right here to show, the steps. That would have the aesthetics to your PowerPoint and to your presentation really do help. It helps guide that person's mind. So don't be lazy on this end. Let's see here. Email marketing, just more going into more goals. Actually, I think this was a duplicate slide. Yeah, because this was my copy of it. So this wasn't the one I actually presented to them. I mean, it is, but it just had some stuff I didn't take out. Let's see. Social media. That was the next part, or step 3, or step 4, sorry. And then you go into everything there. So what we plan to do, what platforms I plan to use. I let them know all the platforms we plan to use for that, how we're going to get them results, what pieces are involved, and I go through each step, kind of give some explanation, but you can see there's not a ton for them to read here. And then, okay, so let me kind of do what I do for them. And the biggest thing, sorry, I had to check my phone. The biggest thing that I would recommend is once you get to the part where you know you're about to drop the price, what I typically do is I say, okay, and before we go into the price, I just want to make sure, do you have any questions about what we're trying to do here? Does anything not make sense? Do any of the steps not really click with you? So that way you kind of understand how we plan to start from point A to point B in getting sales. And then that's where they might have some questions. They might, ask some deeper or ask for some other thoughts that you might have had on something else. They could get off topic. Try to keep them on topic. That's a big thing. Don't let it stray too far, because it gets them out of the train of thought. One thing with sales is hype. All right, you're basically what you're doing is you're building momentum the whole time you're selling them. So if I'm selling them on a digital marketing campaign, and I start at the bottom, the very beginning of the presentation, and I'm working them up, I'm showing them all this stuff we're going to do and all this stuff we're going to be able to help them with. And then all of a sudden we get to the end and they ask a question that has nothing to do with it, and we go off on a 5-minute tangent. You just took that momentum that you built and dropped it back down at least halfway. And that's if that was a short conversation. So don't get off topic. If it does, say, all right, cool, and try and be polite about it, but cut it back towards the conversation. Say, that's great. I love this, but I want to stay on topic. I don't want to waste your time. And I definitely want to make sure I'm able to cover everything. So, that's something you just want to keep in mind. But after I ask them if they have any questions and they say no, then I flip over the page. And the key to this part is to be confident. You don't want to say a price and say, well, the price is going to be $5,000. All right. That instantly puts in their mind like, shit, it's going to be $5,000. If I do that, I'm setting myself up for failure. Okay, you need to go into the sale and say the price with confidence. Say it, say everything in this next part with confidence. So I flip it over, boom, plop it down. So here's what we're going to do. PPC, we're going to spend $1,500 a month. $1,200 of that is going to go to ad spend, and $300 is going to go to a management fee. There's also a $500 setup fee up front. And that covers all of the setup that I do for getting your account ready, doing keyword research, putting together the campaign, all of that, as you can see right here. And then we do, it also includes, like we covered before in the PPC slide, some A/B testing, we build your funnels, all of that. SEO is going to be $1,100 a month, and that includes a $500 on-site SEO fee for this because he already had a website. That was something that we had to do because he was lacking in some areas, didn't have a website indexed on Google, which was a big no-no. You got to have that done. And so that's just what I went in there. So I said the price, said the monthly or the one-time fee of $500, and then I give them a price breakdown. So here's where your pricing is going. This you don't necessarily have to do this. Some business owners like to see it. I knew this guy would because he's very, very nitpicky like that. So I put it in there for him. Listing and distribution, I go into all the pieces of it. Next part, website development and landing pages. I don't stop here. I show him everything before I let him get a word in. All right, and I'll show you the trick here in a sec. So I say, okay, website landing pages, $300 a month. That includes development, optimization, and analytics. Mine was 2 pages, so I flipped the page. Social media, we have a $1,250 a month spend here. This is going to cover this, this, and this. It also includes your ad spend, or it doesn't include your ad spend. This is on, I included it on the price, but this is basically what I told him we should spend at first. So I do a basic plan, and then I include the ad spend on top, but I included it in this one, excuse me, for this example, or for this proposal, as you can see. You can do it either way. It's really your preference. You don't have to do it one set way even. You can do it one way or the other. It really depends on how you want to sell it to your customer. Because in the end, you're going to be taking it off of a credit card anyway, so it doesn't go into your actual monthly cost. And that's actually something that you usually will try to break up. And I didn't for him because he even told me, he was like, I like one number, and I break up everything with his financial guy. He and I work on that, but basically his ad spend is about $1,500 a month out of this $5,300. So actually, I think it's $1,200 a month, and then we take the $300 fee and all that stuff. So, that's just how I included it. You could separate it out or leave it completely separate from this and then add it in later, show them, that's something that would be separate, however you want to do it. Email marketing, $500 to $750, and I left him a range because he has the 2 businesses that we're looking at. So I was like, it just depends on what we do here, and then we talked afterwards. We settled it. So, and then a $200 setup fee. Then content marketing, this is going to be $700 a month, and this is where we create all of your actual content for your pages. We do how-to articles, we do video content, Facebook content, blog and vlog content, everything. And then after I say that last price, then I go directly over here to my column and I say, okay, on-site, here's your on-site SEO fee, $500. Your onboarding fees total to $1,150. So your first month package is going to be $6,150. That's first month. That includes all of your setup fees, all of your one-time onboarding fees, or things that we have to take care of to optimize your site, stuff like that. After that first month, it's going to be a total of $5,350 a month, and that includes your ad spend as well. That's how I did it with him. You could say it's $3,500 a month plus ad spend, so your total is this. However you want to do it, doesn't matter. So that's what I say. So here's that little trick I was telling you about. After you say the final price, so when I say, just so you know, the first month package is $6,150 a month, okay? And the next after that, the next month immediately after that, it's going to be $5,350, and that's the total cost of your campaign. You notice my pause? I keep that, and I actually do that in the meeting. Okay? After I say the price, you just pause. Don't say anything and kind of look at them, because after this, you've just given them everything that they want to listen to. This is the biggest thing that they were worried about when you came in. They're concerned with whether you're going to be able to provide them with results, but the biggest thing they want to know is, are you going to be able to actually do it and then give it to them where they can afford it? Because if they can't afford it, they're not, all this sounds great, but they can't pay for it. So give them the budget, drop the budget, and hopefully you've done your research to know about how much they can afford or can't afford. And this comes off of just trying to figure out in the first meeting what their revenue is, what their annual sales are, what their monthly sales are, what their margin is. That's a very big thing. So if they're selling, for example, for this guy, he sells so many transmissions a month at a 15% margin, and his average is $1,000 per transmission. That's something that we would look at. So he makes basically $150 off of a transmission. That's something you need to say, okay, well, if he's doing this many sales a month, I know that he's probably making this much a month, and that's profit. So you're looking for the profit number, the margin. Um, and that's kind of how you can do that research to know. So, like I said, after you drop the price, silent. Wait for them to say something first. Now, don't go 10 minutes sitting there just looking at each other. If he doesn't say anything or she doesn't say anything, I keep saying he because that's who I presented to. It could definitely be a she. Don't let that don't put that past you. There are definitely women business owners and people in women who do marketing. So um, if they sit there and don't say anything, then you obviously want to say something. If it's been 45 seconds, that's probably even a little too long. You want to do a pause for about 10 to 15 seconds, and it shouldn't go any longer than that. And that's letting them think, and they should be the first one to speak. That's the power move, or it's considered the power move in sales, is letting them say the next thing first. Because they're either going to come at you and say one of two things. They're going to say, great, let's do it, which is good for you, or they're going to come back at you with an objection. And the objection is either going to be, well, I thought it was going to be this much, or um, I don't know if I can afford that, or I just don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if I want to spend that's the biggest one. I have the money to spend, I just don't know if it's going to work. And that's where you have to overcome the objection and do your job as a salesperson to kind of fight through those. Um, but that's basically it. I mean, once you lay down the law, give them that price, um, you sit there and you wait for them to say something. They'll usually respond with something, and then you continue the sale from there. If they just don't say anything at all, I've never had that happen to me where they just didn't say anything. That's kind of weird, I think. If a person just sits there for 15 seconds, they usually will crack and say something first. It's like a trigger in your body that just kind of happens. And unless you're in sales, you're not really paying attention to that trigger. So it eventually just happens, and that person will just say something. First thing usually that comes to their mind, which is good. That's what you want to know. So lay down the law, give them the price, and then try and close the sale. Now, after the sale, that's basically it. All you have to do from there, you whip out the credit card authorization. This is where I go to this last slide, and I'll draw a line right here at the very bottom. And I'll say, just sign right here. There's no commitment. This just says that you're committing to the first month. So we can go ahead and get started. And then you hand them the credit card authorization form, and you get any other information about their business that you're going to need. I typically go back home and send a kickoff form to whoever the person in charge is of their marketing and stuff like that. But there's several things that you can do to get yourself ready. You're going to have to collect platform information that they're using, or social media account information, login information for all kinds of stuff. So that's what I use the kickoff form for, so I don't have to sit there and try and think of every single thing on the spot, or take up more of their time. So that's it. I mean, that really is it for the proposal. It should be something that is just from point A to point B, how to get them sales, what you're going to do to, make sure that happens. Um, Sorry, everybody. Had a business phone call I had to take care of with my client. But basically, just getting back into everything. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, I talked about all the pricing and everything like that, closing, signing, giving all the documentation, and that's it. So that's the video, and that's what you want to do when you go into these customers and when you try to sell them a package. So if you guys are looking for more information like this, that's what my digital marketing course is going to be all about. I'm going to teach you from point A to point B, how to get sales, what you need to know, and then the information that you guys feel like I'm missing, you let me know what you need, and I'm going to put together content for it. That's the best part. If you feel like I'm missing anything, I'm not Ty Lopez. I don't have the massive following that he has, and I'm the first one to admit that every time. But what I do know is that, or the benefit, I guess, of my package versus his is I am able to, reach out to you guys and talk to you directly, and more of you than probably he's able to, because I know he's way busier than I am. So, and then he probably gets a lot more interaction on a daily basis. He doesn't know what to do with it all. So if you guys are interested, check out the Digital Marketing School. It's digitalmarketingschool.teachable.com. I'll make sure to leave the link in the description below. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Snapchat at Serial ENT. Also follow me on Facebook, Jordan Steen Serial Entrepreneur. I'll make sure to leave all of that in the link below as well. But I'm going to get out of here. I got some more meetings to do and some more website development to do tonight. So I will get out of here and hope to talk to you guys soon. Hope to see you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out, guys.